Hello everyone and welcome back. Today I'm going to be addressing a very sensitive topic in our society. The topic is suicide. Further in this video, some of the things I may be saying may be distressing to some, may be fairly painful for others to hear. So I just want to let you know ahead of time that this is not going to be a dumbed down version, or this is not going to be an easy video for all to watch, but it is very necessary to break down the stigmas and the thoughts that come along with the word suicide. I will be putting Suicide Prevention Center's help phones in the description. If you need help yourself and you need to reach out, please contact those numbers immediately, as they are amazing people on there that will listen to everything and will give you resources and just listen to you and what you need. To start off this video, I'm going to be listing a few statistics about suicide in Canada. These come from the mentalhealthcommission.ca, Canadian Mental Health Association, and Canada.ca. More than 6.7 million people in Canada are living with a mental health problem or illness. By the time we reach the age of 40, 1 in 2 or 50% of Canadians will have or have had a mental illness. In 2011, 1 in 5 people in Canada were living with a mental illness. Of those, 1 million were children from the ages of 9 to 19. To put that into a little bit of perspective, we are now living with roughly 38 million people in Canada today. If we include everyone that is impacted from mental health problems or mental illness, whether that be a family member, a friend, a co-worker, a caregiver, or even yourself, everyone throughout some point in their life will be in contact or will be affected by mental health problems or mental illness. Along with all of this, every day more than 10 people die of suicide. From the ages of 10 to 29, suicide is the second leading cause of death in Canada. It is also the 9th highest cause of death behind cancer, heart disease, diabetes, and many other physical ailments. Of the 4,000 plus people who die each year, 90+% of those were living with mental health problems or mental illness. Not only are these studies strictly from Canada, but this excludes the last 10 years with the mental health rates rising. This just goes to show how big of a problem suicide really is worldwide. This all raises the question of why and how do we not have something in place within our education system that teaches us from an early age about mental health and the impacts it has on all of us. Now that we have a little bit of background on what suicide is like in Canada, I'm going to be sharing an analogy from my personal life to give you a little bit of perspective of what I go through and what I have related to with suicide. So the analogy goes like this. Imagine you have 1 million zombies in a circle, and in the middle of that circle is the true you. The you that's inside of your head, that tells you how you feel, what you value, what you want, everything that you truly feel inside. And on the outside of these millions of zombies is the everyday, conscious version of you. At the beginning of my mental health journey, I wasn't ever able to get to the middle and truly ever touch the real me. This is where at some points it seemed too unbearable to even live. I didn't know of any other way out other than to gain control of my life by making one choice to end the pain. And in those moments, I wasn't able to see or understand that there is something brighter in the future and that I will get through this. Some of the thoughts that inevitably stopped me from following through were thinking about what life would be afterwards, if my injuries would be life-changing if I were to survive. And many people in those moments don't have those thoughts, or maybe they do have the thoughts and they still decide that it's too much to bear. For me, why I believe that I survived through those moments was my mixture of OCD and borderline personality disorder. With OCD, there is a very low rate of suicide, and borderline personality has a very high rate. With that mixture, this is what I believe to be what kept me alive to this day. This is why it is very important that we continue to break down the stigmas and barriers to having these conversations. It will help to save the ones that aren't able to make their own judgments and to catch it early on so they can have these conversations and get the help they need. The last thing we want is for you or a loved one to be in a situation where they feel helpless from not knowing where or how to get help. It really does make it hard in those times to understand that there is a way out, that you can change, that there is a brighter future. Through all my years of therapy, the one slogan has stuck with me the most. My therapist once told me that everything gets worse before it gets better, and that statement has stuck true with me for everything through my mental health journey. I've also shared this slogan with some of my friends and people that are close to me. And one of my friends has directly gotten back to me and told me that what his mental health journey has gone through, that is exactly how it is. Everything gets worse before it gets better. That is very hard to accept, but it is very rewarding. Just as if you were to go to physical therapy, your ankle was locked, your shoulder was locked, and you go and it hurts so much the first time, and you're like, I wish I wouldn't have went. I wish I would have just kept my ankle locked. It had less pain than it is now. You end up going a second time. The pain is a little bit less. It still hurts, but you can move your ankle a little bit, and it's more than it was before you first went. You go a third, a fourth, a fifth time, and later do you know that you forget that your ankle was locked, and your ankle is actually healing, and you can walk on it. That is exactly like mental therapy. You go for the first time, and you start to break down what's going on in your brain with this therapist. They've been through thousands, hundreds of patients that have gone through the same thing as you. They know how to approach it. They know what to do. And they start to work with you. They start to work with you on everything that's going on in your brain that you feel is unobtainable or unchangeable, just like that locked ankle. If we learn from an early age how to cope and deal with these mind bullies and where to receive the help, it will exponentially change how people feel about mental illness, mental health. It will help the rates of suicide and help the people that feel like they have no option or that they are alone in this, that they just want their life to end. They will learn that there are so many options, that it will get better, that you will see another day. Your family, your friends, people that work with you, and your future self will thank you for staying alive. There are so many amazing moments to come in the future. There are so many amazing things that you're going to do. All of the happiness, the joy, the sadness, the uncomfortableness, everything that comes with life is going to be there in the future. When I reach out to people and tell them that I was feeling suicidal or that I tried, I'm not asking for them to find a solution or them to find help for me. I'm simply just asking for someone to listen and to understand. And it's not always easy when you bring up the topic of suicide, because not everyone is educated, or not everyone has ever run into suicide or suicidal thoughts or a talk about suicide in their life. So sometimes they don't know how to react or what to do. This is where breaking down the stigma and making it a normal conversation, since it is the 9th leading cause of death in Canada. All of this being said, these are what personally work the best for me and the best ways for me to cope in those situations. Everyone has different ways and different things that they need to hear from people in every situation. This is where it is imperative to hear people's stories so we can all educate ourselves. There are many situations where the person talking to the one committing suicide or trying to commit suicide, that they have no other option but to physically act and save the person's life. I'd also like to say that throughout all my videos, I'm trying to create a community. I'm trying to create a support base for those that do not have the opportunities of therapy, that those who may not have the access to certain facilities. You can come here, you can have a group of people that have been through it. And I will personally say that I'm not going to be leaving this earth, that I'm not going to be ending my life too soon, because there are so many beautiful things to come from life. Beautiful things in the way of hard times, terrible times, amazing times. We all have struggles, and it is learning how to cope with them and working through those hard times that create and breed the best times. With that being said, I will be here alongside with you. I am not going to leave this earth. So if you're feeling this way, I promise you that I will be here, and I will be here for you and with you along this journey. Can you promise me the same? Because I'm telling you, it will get better. Through my channel, in this community that we're going to be a part of, we're all going to be sharing our stories, helping one another, and making everyone feel at home, because it is such a normal thing within society to live with a mental illness or suicidal thoughts. To end this video off, I would like to thank everyone for sticking through this video, whether it was distressing or whether it hit home with you. And I want to say thank you again for coming to watch another one of my videos as we work to break down the stigmas and stereotypes, judgments, opinions on everything surrounding mental illness. Suicide is a very sensitive topic, but when it is something that goes on daily in your life, as to many millions of people that live with mental illness and have run-ins with suicidal thoughts, I think it is very important to be talked about. Thank you all again for tuning in, and I hope to see you in the next one.